Hello everyone. Viewers sent me their competitive Pokemon teams and I'm going to improve them, but first, let's go over some rules. First of all, I will be rating all teams solely based on top level competitive viability. There's nothing wrong with building goofy teams, but you won't get any points for it here. Secondly, I will be ranking all teams on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 to 2 represents a near guaranteed loss at a top level, 2 to 4 is a likely loss at a top level, 5 to 6 is decent but still has considerable weaknesses, 7 to 8 is strong but still has noticeable weaknesses, and 9 to 10 is very solid with very few weaknesses. Lastly, I will not change the key Pokemon or goal of a team when fixing it. Even if that key Pokemon or strategy is unviable or outclassed, I will stick with the vision of the team. All teams I show in this video will be linked in the description, both the original submissions and my edited version. Let's get right into it. First up, we have a Probopass Hazard Stack by LTO2. So we start off here with just a Rocks defensive Probopass, kind of, I guess, standard as a Probopass set can be. A fat Helmet Chomp here, just Spikes Endure, dual stab with Dragon Tail. A fairly normal Sinistcha with leftovers. AV Iron Crown. A Specs Walking Wake, you don't see that every day, Flip, Turn, and Knock. And then we've got a monstrosity of a Tusk set here with these really weird speed EVs that hits this speed. Well, it gets outspeeds Goldengo, but it still gets the booster attack. So really interesting set there, for sure. So this team has a lot of problems. So the first thing is no priority. No priority, and the fastest Pokemon is a Walking Wake. As I said, this is not a booster speed Tusk, so Hyper Offense is like good game. Basically, any sweeper faster than Walking Wake, like an Ogerpon, Wellspring, Iron Moth, Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, DD, Knight, Dragon Dance, Kyurem, they're all going to destroy this team. It also has no way to beat Stall. Realistically, you have one breaker. I mean, this Psychic Noise kind of helps, but like, no, you're never getting past a Blissey with this. And Walking Wake is the only Pokemon with any actual strength here, and it's going to get smacked pretty hard by Blissey and Olo and whatever, Toxapex. Like, it's not getting through. Let's see what else. So yeah, Crown being the only special wall I really wasn't a fan of, especially because Shadow Ball. Look at this team. We have absolutely no Ghost resist to speak of, and not even a Terra type that resists Ghost. So this team, if you see a Goldengo or a Dragapult, you are in serious trouble. As far as strengths, honestly, basically nothing. I really don't have anything good to say about this team. There's really nothing it does particularly well. The one thing I will say, the concept is cool. This Probopass, the idea that you can block, trap in Kingambit and kill it or force it to Terra, and then maybe Draco Meteor can pop off or Iron Crown can do really well. It's a cool concept. Iron Crown kind of has Focus Blast, so it didn't really need it. And there are still threats other than Kingambit, of course, that switch into Iron Crown. You've got stuff like Gliscor, you've got things like Ting Lu, so it's not like Kingambit was the only thing it was having issues with, but it is a cool idea. So I'd say the rating before this, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Honestly, pretty bad. It's like the opposite of anti-meta. Any person with an offensive team will run through this. So, the first change to me was pretty obvious. We have a complete lack of... We have 3 physical walls here, 1 special wall, and we have no Ghost Resist. And then we've got a Spikes Garchomp. So I think you probably know what's coming. We are replacing this with a Ting Lu. And I figured we'd just go with the standard set, went with Terra Ghost, go with Spikes, EQ, Ruination, Whirlwind, and just max Spadef, nothing too wild there. So yeah, this Ting Lu basically just actually, provides a real special wall to the team and just a more consistent spike setter. On top of that, this Whirlwind is going to be really good. Hyper offense teams hate phasing moves, and so that's going to make your matchup a little better. On top of that, now that we've got this amazing special wall, this frees up this Iron Crown slot, and we're going to replace Iron Crown as well for a similar Pokemon. and that is Scizor. So this is going to do so much. Like Dragon Dance Kyurem, now we have an answer. Roaring Moon, now you have an answer, right? This just gives you a lot of what you were needing. This team cannot function. Most bulky teams cannot function without priority. Most teams in general can't. But yeah, just a nice Terra Steel banded Scizor here is exactly what the doctor ordered. This is going to make the team a lot better, and we want to outspeed this. We want to get this to outspeed Adamant Gambit. So we'll go there, and then just put the rest into HP. So already, this team is looking way better. You've got Whirlwind Ting-Lu plus Bullet Punch Scizor. You have priority now. So when you face a hyper offense or a more offensive team, you're not just immediately cooked on preview. And Scizor appreciates trapping steals as well. It likes Gambit being gone for bullet punching. So it still has some synergy, maybe not as much as Crown, but Scizor performs way better on this team. Now onto some of the more minor changes. I like Rocky Helmet. Realistically, leftovers, I mean, this thing's kind of here to just do damage. It's not really meant to stick around for long. It has no recovery. So you might as well, get some Rocky Helmet chip on the way out. Let's see, Sinistra, we want to go Boots on this. So when you have a hazard stack, which this team definitely was and still is, you want your team to be okay at dealing with hazards. And at the moment, your team has no Boots. That's really not ideal. If you set hazards and your opponent sets hazards, you're probably going to lose that game. So we want to have Boots on this. Speaking of bad sets, let's take care of this. So even though Scizor gives priority, we still want some actual speed on this team. And although this isn't the most reliable, I want to go with a booster Tusk. So we can put a little bit in there and then just throw the rest into HP. So this is going to give you a booster speed Tusk, which I consider to be much, much more reliable. And you've also already got 2 knockoff users, so I would personally go with a different move here. You go close combat, you could maybe go bulk up, you've got a few options. And then the last change I wanted to make was for the stall matchup. So hyper offense matchup fixed, ghost problem fixed, but the last remaining issue here is stall. You really still can't break a stall team. This Wake is never getting past it. Or it's not necessarily never, but here's the problem, right? Your Wake, to break Blissey, it needs to knock off the Boots, then come in again and keep hitting it. And it maybe needs to knock a Toxapex as well. It needs to knock quite a few things. And you can bet if you're facing a stall team, your opponent will have max hazards up as well. So we're actually going to switch this out. And especially now that we have that immediate power on Scizor, we can afford running a set like this. So we're going to make this a pivoting set here with Scald. So that's going to allow you to have a much, much better time breaking stall, because with Boots, you'll actually be able to enter the field with Wake more than maybe 4 times. Yeah, and this improved things a lot. Using this, it was like a completely new team, a very, very, very different experience, and a lot of those difficult matchups got better. I would say after these changes, this team is a 6.5 out of 10. It's still relying kind of on Probopass. It doesn't have a great matchup into opposing hazard stack, and overall, it still struggles with some setup, but it's definitely a lot better, and it's actually a pretty serious team that worked well and performed well on ladder, so nicely done. Next up, we have a Psychic Terrain Rain by Mku. So let's take a look at this. The idea behind this team is you've got a fairly standard Pelipper, except it's running Rain Dance, which is a little unique. A defensive Indeedee here, just Psychic Surge, kind of normal thing. And then you've got 4 abusers. So Kingdra here, Scope Lens. So this with Focus Energy and Scope Lens has a 100% chance to crit, so it can keep spamming Draco without dealing with the drop. Barraskewda here, Life Orb set. Notably, this Poison Jab has a 50% chance to one-shot Wellspring, which is pretty cool, so you're not really predicting, which is one of the struggles Modern Rain faces when using choiced Rain Pokemon. Overquill here. Presumably, or it was in the description for Rillaboom, so this kind of helps with that, and also is just another Rain abuser. Clear Amulet prevents Landorus Intimidate, and then we've got Golduck here with Terra Psychic Psyshock, so that's pretty wild. And something to note, the Golduck and Kingdra are both EV'd to outspeed in Rain Scarf Darkrai, so they're really just hitting that top speed level. So I will say this is the most detailed write-up I received for this team ever. Mku has clearly spent a lot of time perfecting this team. unfortunately, it is very far from perfect. So the first and most obvious problem, electric types. You face a single electric type, you are getting smoked. Pelipper is Terra Ground for that reason, but if you see an electric type, which is a common event, like we do have those in the tier. I think it's just Zapdos and Raging Bolt, but those are real Pokemon, and there are other electric types in lower tiers that we still do see sometimes. You know, you see Iron Hands, you see things like Rotom Wash appear occasionally. So yeah, it's really, really not good to have absolutely nothing except a Terra Ground Pelipper for electric types. The next problem is hazards. Look at this team. This team hates Stealth Rock. Everything hates Stealth Rock. Almost everything hates Spikes. So super hazard weak team, and we have absolutely no removal to speak of. Next, we have Rillaboom. So if you face a Rillaboom, you lose. Rillaboom is the greatest enemy of both Rain and Psychic Terrain. The idea that having an Overquill here will make that not a completely unwinnable matchup is honestly delusion. If you face a half-decent player with Rillaboom, you're not going to win this game. I mean, maybe if they're really weak and like Rillaboom's their only water resist, you could figure something out, but no, realistically, that's a losing matchup, and Overquill's not going to make that any different. But Rillaboom is on the downtrend. It's probably going to drop to UU soon. Yeah, next thing, Sash Pokemon. This was something MQ noted as well. Even like a lead Sash Glamora or a Sash Atrot is pretty devastating here. This team really doesn't have anything to deal with that. It relies on killing, and if it can't kill in one hit, basically something's going down because all these sweepers are really frail. So their team does have some strengths, though. It honestly, for the first, it works surprisingly well. Something I didn't realize, a lot of the issues Rain faces is related to priority. I mean, it's Dragonite, Kingambit, Raging Bolt. I just didn't realize how much I could feel that when playing. Like the Indeedee plus Rain was just actually worked really well. Sometimes people would just be in checkmate positions. They'd be like, well, you know, normally I'd have priority to deal with these Rain Sweepers, but now I don't have anything, and they would just lose. So that was really cool to see. And yeah, it actually messed up a lot of teams in 1900s and was performing pretty well. The other thing I'll say, the Barraskewda, I really liked that. I think not going with Banded and going with Life Orb instead was pretty smart. And Golduck was surprisingly good too. It was actually, yeah, it was surprisingly good. Kingdra I hated, but Golduck was actually really impressed me. So before these changes, I'll give this team a 4.5 out of 10. It wasn't awful, but honestly, it's really cheesy. It's really inconsistent. It's not something I'd seriously bring to a tournament game. So let's discuss the change. First, I'm going to go over the biggest change. This Terra Ground thing, it does not work for me. We need an Iron Treads. Now, I know this brings us down to 3 abusers. We've got kind of like 3 leads and then 3 abusers. But given how strong these abusers are with Rain and Psychic Terrain support, I think that's fine. And I wanted to go with Booster Speed, SR, Rapid Spin, Earthquake, whoops, and Knockoff. So fairly standard set, nothing much going on here, but this Treads does so much of what this team was struggling with. It gives you removal, it gives you hazards, and an electric immunity. Notably, Barraskewda after Rocks gets a guaranteed kill on Wellspring with Poison Jab, which is a very, very big difference. The next thing, I hated this Kingdra set. The fact that it needs to set up a Focus Energy is really rough for it to be really strong and effective at all. And it also burns Psychic Terrain turns. I wanted this thing to be strong right away. And I think a Life Orb set is the best way to go about that. And I like that with Terra Water. So this is just a lot more flexible. It's strong immediately. Normally Life Orb isn't a great item, so it seems weird to run 3 of them, but with Psychic Terrain and Rain, it becomes really solid. And we can then replace that for Flip Turn and replace Rain Dance for Hurricane. Gives you a really nice move to hit Wellspring. And you can probably take this minus and put it in defense. You can maybe just keep it in attack. Flip Turn isn't going to be that important in the damage of it. So minor change there. You can sort of do what you will with that. Now the Indeedee set is a little weird. The fact that it's Terra Psychic on a very defensive Pokemon is strange. I'd probably go with some kind of random... You're probably never going to Terra Indeedee anyway, but I think having it Psychic is a little odd. And now that we have an actual ground type, you can make Pelipper something else. I liked Terra Ghost. Blocking a spin in the end game can sometimes be nice. And also can deal with Zama, I guess, which isn't really a major threat, but kind of helps. And then the last change was Golduck. So something I think I forgot to mention, this team cannot really get past a stall team. Nothing on here is ever breaking a stall. Obviously, like, you know, this Kingdra is kind of nice, but it's getting walled by Blissey. Barraskewda gets walled by really any, like an Olo, a Dozo, whatever. Golduck, though. This Pokemon can actually break stall, but not right now, because right now it actually gets walled by Dondozo. Surf doesn't do enough. If we make it Terra Water, it's able to get past Terra Dark Blissey and Dondozo. Now, it does take Life Orb damage, it does take attacks, but with Healing Wish, if Golduck is played smart with Healing Wish, you can actually beat stall with Golduck, which is a sentence I never thought I'd be saying, but it's pretty cool. So after this, I would give this team a 6 out of 10. Honestly, these changes made the team a lot more consistent, and I had a much better time playing it on ladder. I understand removing Overquill, somewhat controversial, but realistically, the Rillaboom answer was fake. Like, yes, we absolutely lose harder to Rillaboom now, but like, what's a matchup? You know, it went from like a, you know, like a 1 to 10 matchup to like a 1 to 12 matchup. We were losing by a ton, and now we're losing even more, but we weren't really beating Rillaboom anyway. But yeah, after these changes, team 6 out of 10, pretty good. All right, now before we talk about this last team, if you could like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you're enjoying the video, that would help out a lot. So let's take a look here. We've got a defensive Volcanion, a trapping set with boots. So just dual stab, fire, spin, taunt. Screamtail here. I actually had no idea till I saw this, but the recent edition of Psychic Noise, Screamtail gets it, so that's pretty cool. And just Wish Tech to T-Wave, good combo with that, very specially defensive set. But Screamtail being so fast actually hits a solid speed tier of 258, even with max special investment. Standard Corviknight here, Terra Dragon for Wellspring, Terra Fire Zama here, leftovers just ID Press, Crunch, Roar, Terra Poison Ting-Lu, standard set here with rocks. Notably, you got kind of that Defog Rocks core, not trying to stack up too much with Ting-Lu since we don't have a spinner, and a Jolly Banded Rillaboom. So this team does have issues. Rilla and Volcanion together are the entire breaking core. Screamtail, Corviknight, Zama, and Ting-Lu are never breaking. Now, Zama, you know, Ting-Lu can do a little bit of damage early on, kind of guarantee damage with Ruination, and Zama can sweep in the end game, but they're not going to break. No team is going to lose to this Zama. You've got to soften the team up first with these two, and unfortunately, these two are just not that consistent. The tier is full of 4 times grass resist. I mean, you've got Corviknight, you've got Dragonite, Goldengo can switch in pretty comfortably, even though it's not 4 times. Iron Moth, that's not really still a switch in, you know, but Moltres, right? You've got, I mean, Petron to switching in forever. You've got so many Pokemon that can deal with Rillaboom forever. So really, you're relying on Volcanion. And there are big problems with relying on this Volcanion. So first of all, kind of hard to bring it in for a Wish. You do just have to switch it in, so keeping it healthy long-term will be a bit difficult. It's not terribly strong. You know, 130 special attack with this little investment, not super impressive. And then there are Pokemon that just wall it, right? Both of these stabs cannot hit Dragon and Water types. So there were a lot of times I would face like a Terra Water Gliscor or a, you know, some like an AV Primarina, and it was just like, well, I guess Volcanion's not doing anything. It was just far too easy to handle sometimes. Anything would like a Terra Water Garg, you're useless. So this thing would just all of a sudden be completely useless really, really frequently. I will say though, there are, and then actually no, there's one other thing I wanted to mention, a couple other. One, Kingambit. Kingambit looks not problematic. Like it looks on first glance, you're like, oh, there's a Zama, there's a Corviknight, there's a Rillaboom if it Terras. Kingambit can get pretty scary in the end game for this team, because you've got Screamtail, which basically gives it free setup. Ting-Lu, which especially with grassy terrain isn't doing much to stop it. And then Body Press, almost every Kingambit Terra type is ready for Body Press. So Kingambit, not like a huge issue, but it does get a little scary in the end game, and this Volcanion was actually EV'd for dealing with Kingambit. And the last thing is Toxic Spikes. No T-Spike Absorber, and Screamtail can't even two-shot, or isn't likely to two-shot Glimmora with Psychic Noise. Volcanion obviously gets blown up by Power Gem, and everything else is a physical attacker. So if you see a Glimmora, Toxic Spikes are going up. Basically, that forces Ting-Lu to Terra Poison. Realistically, you can't just not Terra Poison it, because Zamazenta and Rillaboom are massive tools for the Hyper Offense matchup. So if you don't Terra Poison Ting-Lu, you're pretty much cooked against a Glimmora team, so it's a bit of a rough situation to be in. There are some major strengths, though. So the first, this team has a generally really solid Hyper Offense matchup, particularly webs and screens. But that combination of reliable priority on this, phasing, double phasing, an ID Zama, Screamtail for Thunder Wave, and this bulky Volcanion, this team really wrecks a lot of Hyper Offense. I also want to give a shout out to Screamtail. This Pokemon just worked super well. I was really impressed by it. Wish Passing was obviously fantastic, but also just its Thunder Wave and Psychic Noise combo. Kind of the fast Psychic Noise Pokemon have been really impressive. And this Screamtail could sometimes like really mess up a team and force paralysis on a ton of things with how much pressure it applied with Psychic Noise. Actually, I got to, after the changes, I ended up getting to rank 4 with this team. And as you'll see, I changed very little. So the defensive core here, generally very good. Now let's make these changes though. But before, I'll tell you the rating on this is a 7.5 out of 10. Just for this original team, I was really happy with it. I think I got to like rank 7, or I definitely got to top 10 with the team unchanged. Now, the biggest change is going to be to this Volcanion. This Volcanion just isn't doing what it needs to do. You've got a whole team of defensive Pokemon, and plus a Rillaboom though, but they're really counting on this slot to be a breaker, and it's just not. It's not reliable. But what is Heatran. Heatran can really get the job done, and it provides a fire and ice resist like Volcanion did. It makes the team a little weaker to water, but we'll address that as well. So we want to go with Magma Storm, Taunt, EP, the classic, and for this last, I actually wanted to go with Wisp. So this helps out quite a bit. This allows you to burn Alomomola in the stall matchup, so you can do enough damage with Earth Power plus Burn that you can actually chip down Olo without needing Terra Blast, which is nice. And we are just going to go with an offensive set here. I like Terra Fairy on this because it allows you to resist anything from Kingambit. Previously, a lot of Kingambit sets got scary in the end game, and with this having Terra Fairy, you can burn it, and if it's Terra Fire, you can Earth Power it. So this kind of gives you something you can have in the end game to not worry so heavily about Kingambit. And this will just be a much more reliable breaker than Volcanion was. Now, it won't be perfect, but it'll be a lot better. And as for the water weakness, Volcanion honestly wasn't doing that much on that front anyway. A lot of the offensive water types in the tier, if you see, Volcanion wasn't performing super well into quite a few of these. So it's not like it's a great loss, but on Sun, I was definitely having issues with Walking Wake on Sun, especially that Terra Water Hydros team is devastating. So Terra Water on Screamtail shores that up nicely, and you also just need Terra Steel on this less now that you have 2 Steel types on the team. Corviknight, just make it female for contact moves, and really no major changes on anything else, although personally I like Adamant on Rillaboom. I feel like Jolly doesn't get you that much, but the power behind Adamant can sometimes be crucial on whether you kill a Pokemon or not. I hope you guys enjoyed these teams. Every 2 months or so I make an announcement that I'm accepting team submissions, and I'll do another one of these videos. If you're subscribed and you have notifications on, you'll see it and you can submit your team for a chance to be featured. Thanks for watching and have a good one.